morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. Let's put the chat up here. Okay, so, yeah, I guess it's pointless to run music. It's kind of a bummer. So, yeah, I'm having problems with OBS. It's, when I load it, it says can't connect to, what did it says something. Good morning, Donald. So I'm having issues with OBS, so we're using the Restream client, which is online, which is fine, but I can't switch cameras with it, sadly. So we have to not do our warm-ups these days. Or we could do our warm-ups here, which is entirely plausible. Let's get ourselves a new layout, and let's do that. A new... There we go. I'll switch to sharing the screen. And I'll bring that up. There we go. So, usually I don't want to do this way, but because I can't, I have to sneeze. I can tell already I have to sneeze. Let's go on ahead, though, and put in a couple of lines like this. It does take less time to do it this way. All right, we'll put in some points. I don't know how to put in any curves, though, for this. That'd be kind of fun if I could. Here, just put in some curves, right? There we go. So we'll do that. We'll add a new raster layer. And then we'll take our pen, we'll switch it to this. And again, we'll lift it up so that our elbow is not touching, and neither is this. And we'll try to draw a straight line. 2, 3, and 4. Same thing going the other direction here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll leave the departure point and look to our destination. We'll leave the departure point and look to our destination. Same thing. Leave the departure point and look to our destination. We'll go up here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now these guys are really rough for me. All right. Yep, the old Pepsi and Coke bottles. Yeah, I agree. I remember that. Okay. We've done that. We won't save this because we don't need to save it at this point. We're back here. So we're working on the Starship Tempest. We were working on the Tempest yesterday when I got a horrible sinus headache and I had to call the show a little because I was in kind of a lot of pain, actually. It's really unpleasant. Looking at where we are on the Tempest, we're looking great here. Everything looks really solid on the front and the back view. So there are a couple of things I want to work on over here. Not the least of which is, I feel like the impulse deck here, just looking at our our model here, and when I look at the impulse deck on this, it's not vented like it was on my original model that I had back in the 80s. But the original model that I had in the 80s, the impulse drive had vents in it. It was like it had louvers in it, like some kind of louvers. Good morning, Luna. I hope you're okay. I hope that nowadays, anytime anybody's sick, the first thought is coronavirus, of course. I hope to goodness it's not the coronavirus. That would be nasty and unpleasant, and we'd hate it, and all would be, terrible. Wanting all of these louvers to be level, I'm going on ahead and going across. But at least, Luna, if you're sick, we're going to keep you company, and that's a big plus. That'll help you. I hope that we keep you company while you're sick. I am just suffering from allergies, which is why I had the horrible headache yesterday. There's nothing, I'm not ill, I'm just suffering from the stupid headache. Then we'll go through here like this, and that means you too, and you. We go through here like that, and we go through here like that, and that means you. It's actually pretty easy with that vector eraser. And that looks a whole lot nicer. I mean, these are both shuttle bays on either side, and this is that impulse deck, which right. Have you had contact with anybody who's tested positive? Because that might be a clue on that. I mean, I guess I'm always hoping we would have some kind of clue. All right, we know we've got a point here through the center line, and that's going to be our center line of the ship. Might be a cold or a sinus infection. That is entirely true. So I'm making these points here on either side so that I can use the eraser and just clear out everything but that middle point there. And that's our guide through this, mostly because we actually kind of want to do a little bit of it. See, still have an eraser going on here. I am just suffering from horrible sinus. So maybe it's horrible sinus, and we can always hope, and right? Well, and I mean, it's entirely plausible. I'm suffering from nasty sinus effects too. So I mean, it's entirely plausible that that's what's going on here. Okay, let's talk about our circles, concentric circles that are going to start here and not that way, undo. Okay, so this isn't going to center. I don't actually know how to make it center. So people around you have detected. That works. I hope that I'm going to look up from center. That's what we want. Click the spanner icon. Good heavens. Lower right corner of the tool property. Brush size. Shape operation, start from center. Okay. Well, that works. There we go. So we have that's the most dangerous part of COVID is that 14 days that you don't know whether you're sick or not. That's what makes it brutal. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go up a new layer and add a vector layer. There we go. Let's do undo on that one. Try it again. This time I'm going to hit Shift. So what I'm doing here is that, and just going out on each concentric circle. We're going to have to... Oh, no. I don't want sticky keys on things. So the problem with all of these programs is clearly the only time people hold down the Shift key is when they want assistance. And never for any other reason. So, okay, I'm not liking where these are not, because I have to hold the Shift key down with my right hand, because my keyboard's to my right, I can't hold, I'm not doing a very good job of being straight on this, and I'm noticing that my circles are weird. They're not aligned, and that's not what I'm after here. So, no, George hasn't been in here. He was in here like an hour ago, but I think my kid has locked him in the bedroom with him. So while he's doing work, I think that's where George is stuck in the bedroom with the kid. I think it's probably making him somewhat sad. Let's move this, because that's really what we want. That line is the one that's having the problem, because it's off. And this line might be a little off, but not much. There we go. Now, so George has been, in here and out of here and stuff like that. So I'm thinking we can probably rescue these lines. They're probably okay. They're not ideal, though. I'm trying to decide whether I should just wipe out these circles or not. We'll have to see. Anyway, for right now, we can do, since we're here, since we're up and close. There we go. There, just like that. And that'll get us around that extra outer ring here. I feel like these guys should be, well, I feel like there's going to be a lot of maneuvering up like this to make this work. Because it actually is shorter on the top part right here. And then that forms that bridge piece. It forms Voltron. Everything forms Voltron. In the end, everything forms Voltron, and that's just the nature of things. So, that was something I was looking at. I'm looking at, my Miranda class here, this guy right here. And all I see, I see the normal loading docks and loading hatches on the underside of the saucer, but I'm not really seeing anything but the one docking port on the back of the bridge for like shuttle pods and things like that, which I find fascinating. Truly interesting. I would have put a shuttle port or a docking port for a shuttle pod on some other part of this. But I don't see that. I don't see any of the shuttle pod docks. I see the shuttle pod dock that goes here, but I'm not seeing the shuttle pod docks anywhere else in the dish, which I find, or the saucer, which I find fascinating. Intriguing. Truly intriguing. Okay. Let's put ourselves down here. Stop. No, I don't want accessing shortcuts. Oh, it erased my circle. Okay. Windows, stop. I am not disabled. I don't need help. Thanks. I appreciate that there is disabled function and functionality because there are a lot of people who are disabled, and that's totally acceptable. However, once I've said no to this, I shouldn't have to explain again. Oh, excuse me. I didn't want to sneeze in the middle of circles. Dang it. My nose has been giving me fits, Luna, so it's entirely plausible that it is a sinus thing. Just to give you a little bit of hope. Okay, these guys now. These guys go all the way out like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do 1/2 of this dish ultimately. So I'm going to go on ahead and let it be distorted over here because I'm going to delete everything on that side at some point. Yesterday I had a horrendous sinus headache, and it was so bad I ended up having to cancel my show for a while there. That's a pretty bad sinus headache. Okay, I want you to be aimed the right direction because this is that back area there. Oh, I'm going to have to go blow my nose. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on real quick. Much better. Thank you for being patient. Yeah, I agree. It is a very lovely function to be able to do, to be able to help people who need assistance. But yeah, right up until it becomes a pain, which time it's like, I don't know if you're not helping. You're not helping at all. Okay, now we are down to the bottom of the forecastle, the bridge dome on the top here. The interesting thing about this is this structure right here, because it tilts forward into this section right there, which is kind of cool looking. I'm just looking right here on the dish and looking at this structure. But, you know, the structure is right, this part right here is where we're working on. You know, right now, major reason I'm having a problem is just that we've had a change of seasons. Every time we have a change of seasons, I tend to get clogged up and everything like that. It's just a normal thing. I'm not going to do this structure real quick, by the way, guys, as a side note. I'm not going to do that structure until we're done with all the circles on the dish. So let's go on ahead and finish our circles. I'll grab this. There we go. Because we've got to go out all of the shield grid. Which is, oh, no, don't. No, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you very much for ruining that. But, do you want help? No, I don't want help. I'm good. Thanks. You know what? Be better. If I did this with the mouse. Because it's being just flaky enough to not do well here. There we go. Every other one's not taking, and that's kind of interesting. There. There we go. We're almost out to the edge of the dish, the saucer. So, Star Trek nomenclature says that this part of the ship is the saucer. The dish, I did this wrong. The dish is the sensor array at the top. Oh, there's 8. Or the sensor array that's at the bottom of the secondary hull. And it's a common mistake for people to say dish when they mean saucer. The saucer is routinely referred to as this piece up here. The dish, even though this is a refit, the dish is this part right up here. And so I have to keep remembering that because I say it wrong all the time. But this is the saucer. This is the saucer section here. Okay, now what we're going to do is go down on this layer and draw a line. I don't know if I want that. No. Control Z. Draw a line right here and right here. No, actually, we don't want that. Undo. We want the line right here. And then we can take the eraser and go like this. vector eraser and just do that. Because this entire after section now delineates to here. So we're going to have to come out from this side. But we're going to do the same thing over here. Like that. All right. Now the other straight lines that are in here are right here, which goes out to the RC thruster on that part. Right here on this part of the shield grid. And right here on that part of the shield grid. And this one's already in, so we're okay. I'm not going to worry about the other side of the saucer because we're just going to cut the saucer in half and then flip it and duplicate it in a second here. But what we do have is this guy. And this is that upper structure that Miranda classes have, which come out like this and then go back. We're going to raise my brush size to 8 because we've got to go all the way to the aft section of this ship. Through here, through here, through here, there, and here. And then we've got a secondary unit, which kind of comes along like this, but I don't think I want it in that heavy of a pin. So I'm going to bring that down to 4 again. I'm going to go back to this section here and through. But before I do that, I'm going to go on ahead and fix this section in because then I can just delete these rings without having to actually go through all the fighting on it. So on each section, because we really don't want that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my pinched curve, add a control point. I'm going to add a control point like there. I'm going to bring this up and then over and then around like that because it comes up and through on this section. So this guy's doing the same thing, but he's coming up in much the same manner and he's rising up. So I'm going to do that and that. There. There, just like that. So now that we've done that, I can go through here and just knock out this line right through here. You can't, apparently. Is the vector line not working? What's the story? We'll come back in and do some final fixes anyway. Because this actually curves out and around. And it looks like this all fits into this top part of this array right through here on this side of the dish. I'm going to go ahead and just merge these two together because they don't need to be non-merged. Now I should be able to get rid of these guys right through here. I need a bigger eraser. There we go. All right. Now that we've done this, we should be able to just get rid of all of that. Can we get rid of that? Let's see. Yep. And will it go all the way back to there? It should. There we go. And now we have the Miranda hull that looks like it should be. I wonder if I can do this. I can. Well, there's always that. Now we have literally only one side of the Miranda hull. That makes life a whole lot easier. Just a whole lot easier. Now I need to delineate a little bit between the hull plates that are on the back of the Miranda hull back here, and some of the features on the back of the hull. What we've only got here is established just 2 different line widths. And this 4-point and this 8-point line width. But I need some different line widths back here. So I'm going to bring up to, say, 6-point, which is right in between, and run after like this. I'm going to do that. We're going to come back here to, then let's go on ahead and go all the way back to there. And this will be a lot easier for us to just have one continuous line, right? So we'll just add a point right here. We'll add a point there. Add a point there. And that should give us this nice structure kind of going back. Hey, Brent. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the sneezing show, which is apparently what this show is right now. I'm looking at my Miranda on this one, and what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a different pattern of boxes than I'm seeing underneath here, and kind of feeling like maybe I like this patterning on here than this. This just looks like tiled sheets of metal, which might have made sense if it was styrene and things like that. So I don't think I want to go with that on this particular setup. So what we're going to do is I'm going to follow more what's going on in the patterning to the Miranda here for that. But first, there's more. We're going to do the rest of this rigging that goes after, like this. Add a control point in right there. Add a control point right there. That gives us this shape that's back there. So the other thing we need to do is fix some of this piece here, because this now goes after like this and goes after like that. And this is very straightforward up like this, which all of the things on this side don't matter because that'll all be cut and deleted at some point. So we just need to make sure this side is good and solid. And I'm seeing some little things like I'd rather this went like that and came straight out of that line there. Okay, now let's look at the plating on this. The plating, let's bring this plating down to 4. The plating does do this at some point. Get a little line like that. Then we get a straight line that goes absolutely straight back to, well, okay, I see a different structure up here. I see this structure first, which goes all the way to this point. And then there, and that connects that. And these are at the the shield grid rings. So we're going to do this and then that, which is what that does. And then this is open. Okay, that's not a problem. And then what would have been here goes after like this and goes across like so. And just rolls right off the back of the ship there, I guess. It looks like there's one more right here. Okay. Then on this side, this guy continues back to right here. Straight down, but only to about 2 points in. So this guy goes back to here on the shield grid. And this guy does go back, but he comes back from here. And that guy goes back on the shield grid. By the way, our show today, I remember to do this, is sponsored by Brito, who says that art is too important not to share. Art is too important not to share. Originally, I had said that there was no show tomorrow. There will be a show tomorrow, by the way, but our Friday show is going to be cut short. So I have a photo shoot to go on with Nate, our lovely friend from Geekway Homes. He has a shoot, and I'll be on that shoot on Friday. But Nate's saying we don't need to. We need to meet at noon, so I'll just at the location. So I'll just cut the show from 10 to 11, which I think will do Pepper just fine. I think Pepper will be happy to kind of not have to be struggling through that. All right. And now this area back here is complicated. And I'm noticing, looking at my model here, if I take and pull off the warp nacelle on this, because I know that these Faruda come loose. I just can't remember which way they come loose. There they go. So we're just pulling the roll bar off the Faruda, which is good because really, honestly, this ship needs to be sort of like this. And that's kind of the way that we're looking. So taking my Faruda and taking the roll bar off so that we can look just at the hull itself, which is what we're going to do here. We're going to look just at these pieces and the structures here. And that's what we're going to be drawing at this point. A few things that we want to do. So we do still have the game tomorrow night. We're on Act 2 of our game, which I think is going along rather nicely. I mean, I hope it's going along rather nicely. Hope you guys don't hate it. We did have a wonderful discussion about how we accidentally ended up sidelining Brent by accident. That didn't mean to happen, but we're going to unsideline him so that he's not, oops, that's the wrong size. So we're going to unsideline Brent, which will be extremely helpful. Poor Brent. Didn't mean to sideline you, man. Didn't mean to sideline you, bro. I promise. So we're going to put in, this is the dilithium crystal array, which lives in the back section of the warp core, like that. So there we go. Now we'll take a look real quick to make sure that we're going along right. Okay, so we take that out. That definitely looks like a Miranda class ship. I mean, definitely we're doing well. Oh, totally. But immediately all of the people on the ship were like, ooh, you has pointy ears. Joe and I talked about that last night. Or night before last. It was very funny. We were like, we didn't mean to sideline Brent. And so we got to figure out how to. It was like, well, that wasn't what we wanted to do. So we will get you back in the game. Don't worry. I mean, I know you're not worried, but don't worry anyway. We'll get you back in the game. It'll be fine. So you got accidentally sidelined. That wasn't intentional. Okay, so what we're doing here is I'm putting the radials in on the warp crystal assembly. And if I don't do them right, then it looks really funky. So here's me putting them in correctly. Whoa, here's me not putting them in correctly. There we go. It's all right. It's all right. We got this. We got this. I promise you that you won't stay sidelined. All right. Now the structure around here on this model, looking at the after section, which is kind of blurry, looking at this after section, looking at the crystal array, which is right here, looking at that crystal array, it's got a structure around it. So I'm going to want to bring this section around because it has something that looks much like this, which matches the shield array on the back, and then comes all the way back like this, which means that that's not far enough. That's okay. We can make that work. There. Good version of the face. Yes, I agree. So that's interesting. All right. Now we're going to be on these guys right here, which is an interesting sort of structure on the back of widgets, for lack of a better word. There we go. Bring this forward like that. Bring this down like so. And moving up through the structure of the ship, we're going to go like there's a piece there, and then a piece that's here that looks like a box. And inside this box are two dots that are like so. And then we'll move forward into the structure right through here. Gotta really that. And then this. And then a larger one. There we go. And then there's a vent system right here. There. Yes. Yes, we did. There will be a game tomorrow night, and you are more than welcome to be dizzy and in voice only. Both of those things are absolutely correct. Or absolutely acceptable, I guess is what I'm looking for. Absolutely acceptable. You may be there in voice only if you wish to be there at all. If you need to take the time off, that is also acceptable. Okay, what is this? I like random vents. It does make you wonder why you have ventilation of some sort on this. Okay. Now, random vents on the back there. Sounds like a thing. A lot like shipmas. Uh-huh. And it should look pretty cool on that side. Yeah, there we go. We're looking good. I'm just going to copy this structure. And again, I'm kind of wondering why I never think of these things. Because there's a lot of things where it's like, well, I could just do a polygon and do a square, right? Right? Starting from the center and like right here and do that and then make sure it's straight, right? Just like this. And I don't care about this side because that's going to get cut. So what I care about is whether this side of the ship or this side of the structure makes it. Right? The rest of this can all just burn. I don't care. That's not true. I do care. I care a lot about this ship. I care about your little ship. It's okay. Okay. Let's put in the RC thruster on the front. RC thrusters are RC stands for reaction control. So that's the reaction control thruster on the front of the dish. What I find interesting is the RC thrusters are pointed at the quarters on this model and at the different quarters on this drawing. But the RC thrusters on the Enterprise are at the corners of the saucer. So I'm going to match that and say Furuto's probably inaccurate. It might even let me round the corners, but I don't need to round the corners on those. They're fine. Oh, you mean on these back here? Yeah, it did kind of look like they were rounded a little. But I'm not that worried at this point in time. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like, I'm going to continue this straight line through the middle and then just wipe out everything that's on the other side. So I'm going to take, actually, I'll do that now, right? This guy here, no, this guy here, let's make sure he goes all the way back to the after of the ship like this, right? And he will become my cut line that I can cut everything to the other side of. I can just go through here and just do this, right? And everything will disappear south of that line, or north of that line, I guess. Right? And now we've got exactly 1/2 of a ship. And all of these pieces here, now we know which needs to, like, I'm seeing pieces that aren't quite connected right up here, which will need to be connected. Like, you need to go all the way up to the line there. Right? These guys need to go all the way to the line. Now I can check all of this stuff. I guess I'm not worried about those things going over the line. That should be fine. And then this guy can just be pulled back at some point. Now that I've made that cut, I can just take this guy and push him back to there, which makes it cool. Look at that. Wasn't that cool? That was cool. So now that I've done everything along this spine structure, I'm feeling okay about that. Now it's just a bunch of stuff that's over here that I want duplicated on the other side. I'm seeing a couple of little divots in here, which are cool, that look neat, and make this not look so basic, I guess. I see another line that needs to come in right here. like that. This section's open, and then I see boxes right here. This can be these guys, because I kind of feel like that could be these guys. Oh, now you're open. You're not helping me any. But it does. I'm noticing that this line's not straight. So this is a technical drawing, so let's go ahead and straighten this line out. And that should make it easy to move. No, that's not what I wanted. Hey, look, it's home plate. I'll just move this guy onto it, like so. And you need to move down to it too. There we go. So I see these little divots when I look at this part of the structure on the backbone of the ship. Yeah, the ship's and I see those little divots and they look cool. So I'm actually kind of trying to match them here. Well, that divot is right here at this juncture. And I kind of like that better. So let's put that divot right here on the juncture. There we go. Straighten that guy out a little. Kind of hard to see. Maybe I should zoom in because it makes things a lot easier. There we go, that's straight. And now you're straight. And we'll just zoom out, scroll down, zoom in, because you're not straight at all. Oh my God. There we go. And all right. So the other thing that's going on here is this, I guess this is a sensor array on the front. These two top pieces are right up here. And I'm guessing that that is the equivalent of the navigation deflector. And it's in two pieces. One piece is, which I find interesting because it is this interesting navigational array here, but it's up on this structure like this. And this is, of course, the truth is you can always ask, well, what was that? I mean, what we can speculate as Trekkies. It's our job to speculate. Anyway, that's what we do. And so I speculate that this was a navigational array or deflector up here on this part of the ship. But it is, actually it's past that, isn't it? It is past it here. And then, oops, let's not mess with that. There we go. We'll put this guy here, going up onto the upper superstructure up here. Right? So it's going up onto the superstructure. And now we've got, and this is just the marker to mark where it is, right? Up here, we actually have a very different design. It's like this, and then up, and then straight back, and then off It's really weird. So we go up, then up the superstructure, and then straight back. And it has this dark area fin thing, which looks like it has striations on it. So I'll put striations on it. We'll make that work. There we go. Just like this. Right? And that's going to be that piece, which you can see it on the model right here. It's very hard to see. You can see it on that model right there. Here, let me give you a better view of this. I'll switch there. And I know that the camera is having a hard time zooming in on it. Come on, work with me here. There we go. You can see that structure. This is what we're working on right here, is this structure. We're going to try to figure out what we're doing on this structure. So now you can focus back on me. Okay, so there we go. That was kind of fun, actually. Let's switch cameras. Aw, time to take a quick break, but I'm going to finish this first. Yeah, because the rest of this is going to be complicated in this zone. So let's go ahead and stand up and let's do our little stretches and things like that. Let's stretch, except for Luna, who's sick. Luna, you don't have to stretch. Everybody else, though. Let's get up. Let's stretch. Stretch. There we go. Shake everything out. Go for a quick little jaunt around the office. Walk over here. And then walk back. We should always also go over here. Take a look outside. What a wonderful day it is. It really is a wonderful day. And I probably skipped this a little bit because I think it's supposed to be pretty warm today. I've got this anti-George structure here. So let's talk about the anti-George structure. Put that in. In hopes that he won't find a creative way to escape. There we go. Bring the fan up against here. Maybe I'll turn this fan on. That fan blows hot air out of the office, because this office, with this big glass window right here, becomes kind of like a convection oven. So, all right, we are back. It is lovely outside. It is a wonderful day. All right. Let's get back to work on this. Now we're in this little superstructure right here. And we're going to switch cameras so you guys can see what we're doing. We're going to go back in here and undo. And I'm looking at sort of like a cupola, which is like going along like this, and like this, and like this. It is angled. So maybe I want to put a curve back here. Oh, don't do that. Curve goes kind of like this, straight back. It is. That's what I had seen too. It's going to be a lovely day. It's a good day for doing work. So we got this like sort of couple structure back here. I like it. It looks good. I feel like this is exist. It sucks when somebody says that, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Kind of this going right here. It is a little dot in front of this piece that's going on here. But I feel like this guy needs to be just a little bit more like that. Now, the thing that's inside here, I don't even really understand exactly what that structure is, but I'm just going to go on ahead and build it like this. All right, now we remove that from underneath it. That looks gorgeous. Looks just fine. This line is not straight. I can tell from here that that line's not straight. Okay, let's straighten up this line. There. I don't like the way this all converges. It's not the way it does on the actual model down here. Looks like it's slightly over. It also doesn't look like it's beveled as much. It does converge here. Now we're back to work. Back to work. I feel like this is just not working like I want it to. And I really want this guy here. I say that like it's a question. Do I want it here? I think I do. I think that's the structure we want. Because I feel like that's part of what's going on with this and why it doesn't look right, because it needs to come down from up here and go across like this and then move to here. I think that's what we're looking for, right? I feel like that's what we're really looking for. There. Much more like the structure we're looking for. Which matches the structure on the top of the saucer section here. Which I paused because I was like, am I supposed to say saucer section? Yes, this is the saucer section of the ship. So it comes down like so and connects through like this and goes back up like that. And this guy, I feel like, might need to move over a little, which isn't a major problem. I have to do that. And then this guy needs to be more centered. And so do you. But then that works. And I feel like that actually is pretty much exactly what needs to happen out there. And we'll just erase you. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Is there any structure out on this side, or did I just after? Oh, there is a structure after. Okay. So this guy continues all the way to the back. So does this guy. This guy just needs to get straightened up. The warp nacelle goes through this section right here. And this is actually where the strut from the nacelle is. So we're going to have to go on ahead and build that nacelle at some point here very, very, very soon. There we go. So this little divot here is actually going to get cut out. It's actually going to look more like that, because that's part of where the nacelle prop piece goes in. We can see that here when we take the top part of the Miranda dish without its superstructure on it. Right, and then that's where we're going to have to come through here and put that nacelle structure in. I'm not flipping it until we have the nacelles in. So the nacelles on this guy are up and above. So we're not done really yet with this. We need the phaser arrays. The phaser arrays sit on the top ring right here. And actually, this I think I can just do with just a square, right? I mean, maybe not that square, though. I forgot I'd done this way. All right. So the phaser array here is just going to sit like that. The same thing here. It's where this forward phaser array sits, right? And we'll go through then and do that, and then that, and then that. Do it in the right order. Doing that one in the wrong order could be ugly. Okay, so your phaser arrays are there, and we need circles for it. So we're going to go ahead and do circles. And they sit like what? Not like that. Undo. We're going to zoom in and do these circles. There are 2 phaser ports on here. On each phaser array. That's doing midpoint phaser ports here. There we go. So now the phaser arrays are in. That's good. We need the nav beacons. There's a nav beacon right on the front of the dish. Right here. And then we can just trim out that side and trim out that middle piece. And then there's a nav beacon at exactly this point here. Trim out that middle piece. And then there are 2 nav beacons on the after hull. My little guy doesn't seem to have them on there. So I'm just going to have to guess. And I'm guessing, it's an educated guess, so I'm guessing that there are 2 nav beacons there. Which we can take out the center section right on that line. That seems about the correct place for a nav beacon. No, that's not the correct place for a nav beacon because I put it in the wrong spot. It's going to be right here. It's just not on a line. It's not on a shield grid. This shield grid's not straight. Anybody want to just talk about the fact that these things are not going where they're supposed to go? No, stop that. Undo. There we go. I'm just like a stickler for all of these things. That nav beacon's going to be in this line. And I think that there's a line that continues through here. Right, let's just go ahead and bring him across. He's not on my model over here. But look how clean that is. I like that a whole lot. And it gives me a spot to put my nav beacon. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put my nav beacon in a logical spot. Engineering-wise, you'd want to put, since those nav beacons are huge, I mean, they're 2-3 meters across, so 6 or 8 feet wide for these nav beacons. Engineering-wise, you'd want to put it at a joist between 2 plates, because then you can have a plate that has a cut this way and a plate that has a cut this way, so that when you put them together, the nav beacon just slips right in the middle. So I'm going to put that nav beacon right here and cut out that center section like, nah. that section right, like that. And that looks a whole lot cleaner and nicer. And we've got our 3 nav beacons, because there's 5 nav beacons on this ship. There's actually 5 nav beacons on the Enterprise dish too, because you can see up here is the nav beacon on the after section, and there's 2 of them on either side of the impulse stack. So that's definitely a thing. I sound like such a geek when I do all of this stuff, but I loves me my starships. And so there's that. I don't know what to say about that, except that I'm just a geek, and that's the way it goes, and I guess we're okay with that. Okay, so let's also take, and I'm going to adjust the line width here and make this guy 8 and this guy 8 so that it all fits through here. We're going to go through here, though, and then we're going to make it 4 again. Right here, and right here, and right there, and right there. So this is the only part that's 8 through there. And that's just because we want to make sure that's the good structure where the warp nacelles sit on the top there. So, okay, here's what we're looking at. Already doing good. Now we just need to get this nacelle structure up. The nacelle structure is going to be over here, which is good because I did all this work on this side and it'd really be sad to lose after doing all that work. I'm actually going to do the nacelle over here because this is the undercarriage of the ship. The way that this drawing is done was a half top, half bottom. So it's only really the port side of the ship just flipped over. Because it's the port side of the ship only, I'm actually going to do a full size one because I think that's what he's really after. So we're going to do this side of the warp nacelle and then move the structure over. I'm going to put a new vector layer in like this. We're going to go into this layer like so, and we're going to get ourselves a couple of lines to put in here. Okay, so we know we've got kind of a straight curve that needs to come back from here, or a straight line from here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do these in 8. This guy goes all the way aft like this. This guy goes all the way aft like that. Then there's a bump, and then this fin. Part of this is what makes, I feel like, the movie era such an elegant, beautiful era. Right? Do we want this to be 8? Maybe we want this to just be 6. Come in here, go all the way to the tail section, and round that curve out like that. Let's see how elegant that curve is. Here, same thing. All the way out like that. Elegant curves. So we're going to do that. Same thing up here. Here to here, and then we'll just bring that around like that. Here to here, and we'll bring that around the same way. And we'll attach those two in a moment. And we're just doing a lot of kind of the structure point inside here. Now we'll do the inner sections of this. So when we go into the curve, we're going to bring it down to 4 so that we can do this. And this guy, nah, it's not what we wanted to do. Well, maybe it is. Right? And we'll go like this, same thing. Giving us a lot of a curve going up to the top part here. We'll straighten that out in a minute. Same thing right here. And right here. So we're putting in the concentric rings in this. There's a nav beacon on the back. We'll have to put that in a second. But we're putting all the superstructure in on the top here. So this has a piece like this, and a piece like that. And then it goes straight back along the spine. And then across like this. And there you go. I actually feel like that's probably not that. Let's take a look at the Enterprise. And we're going to, since we're working on the Wart nacelle, we'll just pull the nacelle off because we don't need to be hauling that big ship around every time. So we'll look at the top of the nacelle. We got the wrong nacelle. That's okay. So yeah, all of this piece up here is a different superstructure piece. I'm looking at the superstructure along the top of the hull, or top of the nacelle itself. So we're going to go in here and correct all of these lines so that they're straight. Let's go do that. That wasn't what I wanted to do, but that'll work. That's all right. Okay, so it's coming up from here across these two bands like this, and then it goes straight, absolutely straight into the structure. So we're going to bring that back and do damage, unfortunately, to this line. There we go. We'll straighten this line out like so. And bring this in and bring that in. There they go. And then we've got this side needs to match that because it's doing the same thing. This part connects to this part. And then this part out here connects backwards. Like, no, well, it does, but I feel like this fin comes out more like this and is bowed. There we go. Now we go and trim out the pieces that don't need to be here. Nope. Nope. Okay, you're just going to become easier to the other way. Okay. On top right here, one of the things we've got is this large array assembly, which has this on it. And all of these structures come into this assembly. So, looks like an egg. We'll have to fix it. There we go. All of this stuff comes into this structure. So, we're going to move it up. Because all of this moves into the structure. Man, you guys are being difficult. Don't be difficult, points. And these guys just move on in. They move on in. They move on in. And they move on in. Somehow this became sort of a show all about design. I didn't necessarily mean it to be, but it looks cool. Okay. Looking at the bottom here, taking out this, that looks fine. Now we need to do the flux chillers. The flux chillers are the black sections or the blue sections on the inside. All of these are the flux chillers, and they chill the flux, apparently. I don't know. I just work here, right? I don't know what that does. Chill the flux. You chill your own flux. I don't know. It's a thing. So the flux chillers are black. I'm going to move this over because it needs to be more like that. And there we go. And apparently I'm into the idea of very weird lines. So there's that. I don't know. I just, weird lines. It's a thing. I'm going to put in a curve, but just at this back point so that it just does that, because that looks a lot better. Right? It's a Wharton cell thing. You wouldn't understand. Like a Jeep thing. It's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand. I got a friend who's a Jeep guy. Okay. So the flux chillers then run 2 lines through the center point right here. And this is one where I think I want to put that 6 in, because the way this looks is like there's this point going all the way back to this crystal assembly, or this dot assembly, whatever you want to call that here, and going past it like this. And then we've got this divider in the center, right? Like that. And that makes this, in here, we've got all these little striations in it, which we're going to have to go in here and do. But first, let's not do that just yet. Let's get in here and make sure these lines are straight before I put all those striations in, because that would suck, right? Put all those striations in, and this guy's not, in fact, straight. Now you have to straighten up all the striations. Right? Now he's straight. Okay, going straight back to here. And this is an array that does actually go back further into that part. I'll have to fix that later. Did I just crookedize him? No, he's straight now. Okay, now we're going to put the striations in, but we should probably also check this guy because he's not straight either. I'm clearly into the concept of drawing very crooked lines in this front piece of the work cell through here. There we go, much better. The way this looks on this side here is, no, don't do that. I need you. Because the way this is working here is very much that this and then this is straight across. So we're going to come out here like this, like that, and that's forward like this, and then we're looking at the structure like more like that, right? And I'm going to take this and go like that, and move this forward, like so. We'll put in an 8-pointer here for this at the top of this line here. There we go. And that's more like what this is looking. When I look down the top, very top of this, that's the structure I'm seeing there. Now we're going to add that little divot you saw in there. We're going to add that here in a second on either side. And that's what I'm going to do right about now. In here, we can add a control point, and have it come in just a little. And then we're going to do the same thing back here. We're going to add a control point right there, and then add a control point to bring it back out. So this comes in like that. We'll do the same thing on this side. Control point and control point. We'll divot it in. And then add a control point back here. And then another one right here so that it comes around. And then we're going to make sure that it just stays out of the way of this guy. Right, so add a control point, add a control point, add a control point, and we're out of the way. Right, and then that comes in there, and we'll just leave that alone. We'll just leave it to its own devices. There we go, just like that. Bring this around like this, and up and over, and all is good. There we go. Okay. Now the other thing I'm reading in here is a 4-point, these internal striations. The vent across the top. And these vents make this look really cool, and I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I guess the flux is in here somewhere being chilled. So there's flux, it's being chilled, it's inside the flux chillers, and all is good. I'm going to go ahead and just put it straight across. No, I'm not going to do that. I want it here. And the reason I'm doing this is to give it the obvious movement there. There. And now we have a warp nacelle that looks very much like the delineation of the top of this warp nacelle, right? So we'll do that. And then we need to put in the after nav beacon. And it needs to not be there. There we go. The after nav beacon is that. And now we have one warp nacelle. And what we're going to do is just duplicate it. All right, so we will take this guy and we will duplicate the layer. And then this, we will say transform. And we're going to flip it along the vertical axis. That's not what we wanted to do. Yeah, it is. Totally what we wanted to do. Okay. Now we can take this guy and move him right here. Right, and we'll take a look at the undercarriage again to line this up so that we know exactly where it needs to line up. I'm noticing that the drawing goes a little askew. I find that somewhat entertaining. But now that we've done this, I'm actually going to delete this ultimately. This guy right here, I'm not going to need him anymore. Because now we just finished this structure, and it's going to be the same on the other side. So we'll complete this structure up here, and we'll thank that warp nacelle for being a good warp nacelle, and we'll delete him. Because we're going to come over here, and now we're going to flatten this down. And this part of the forward section of the saucer is going to vanish, and that's okay. So Control and E brings our system down. Maybe I don't want to do that. Let's back up one step, because I think it will be easier if I go under here and hit some of this stuff while we can, while it's not flattened. See how it's, when it's not flattened, I can just take out all of this like this, and it's not going to be a problem. Once it's flattened, I have to go in between each one of these little striations and do that. Nah, it's just going to drive me crazy. So now that we've done that, now we can Control E and bring it down. The last thing we need to do now is this structure through here where we have the nacelle strut going through the system. So we're going to take this nacelle strut here, and I'm going to make curves for this because I really want to illustrate that we have gone through the hull of the ship here a little. And it's a nice bent strut on the bottom part. It's nice and curved, not a problem. The photon torpedo tube looks like it's also the same way underneath here. Looks like it's a very bent structure like that. That probably should be a larger number though. Let's do that in 8, right? Because this is that this is the photon torpedo tube underneath going backwards. So, it needs to be turned the other direction. But since this is inside on this side, I'm going to take this straight and go like that. And we'll give it a couple of lines just to give it some structure. Because right now we're missing some structure on this. A lot of structure. Okay, now we'll take a look at what we've got. Oh, we were on the wrong layer. Look at that. We have made a major mistake. Let's go back let's go back, see how far we have to go. Merge with a layer below there. That's where we need to be. Because this went the wrong direction. Instead of merging these two layers, we merged these two layers, and we didn't want to do that. So we're going to merge these two layers. You have to stop. But why? Because you're on the wrong layer. There we go. That's all right. That wasn't a lot of work, so I'm not that worried. The other thing I want to do, though, while we're here, even though the model shows this being a flat piece back here, I want to make this just a little bit like, what are we, not vector anymore? Do we go to a non-vector layer as soon as yeah, we do. I'll be darned. Well, then I'm going to not merge with those layers below because honestly, I need my vector layer to still be a vector layer. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to come back in with a straight line and do a 6. And then I'm just going to bring this in a little. And that's going to give us kind of a cool shape right there. You know what I mean? Just kind of looks nifty. And then we'll rebuild all of this. We were on the wrong layer. Right? Make it look like it's going into the distance there. Do a curve. Pull that back. We'll bring it up to an 8. Dial it up to 11. I'm just kidding. Imagine what kind of mess we would have if we dialed this up to 11. There we go. There's our torpedo launcher on the bottom there. I'm going to give that some structural property as well because it's a torpedo tube. I feel like we should at least have something going on the bottom there. And this front piece we had as a curve earlier. We're going to go ahead and just bring that down to a 6 on this. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. We're going to put it through the hole a little bit there. And give it just a little bit of a sort of, it's going through the hole, at least some kind of acknowledgement that it's moving through the hole. So, hey, Patsy, it's all right. You're late, but we're working on a ship, so this takes forever. Now we'll take a look at the design. All right. Now we're looking a lot better. I've got a lot of the structure up here. We've got a work nacelle on it, and everything looks good. So I'm pretty happy with what we've got going at this point. But now that I've seen what happens with this not turning into, I guess this is still also wired. Maybe it's just Control E. Leaves it vector. Yeah, okay, that leaves it vector. Okay, good. Okay, so we've done that. Now I'm looking also at the structure of this, and I feel like it's bent. So I want to go in here and bend this a little, just a little bit, to give that impression it's following that same bend above. Right? Because we want it to bend into that structure below. And it's following the structure line just like above, right? So there it's bent. You can see it's bent there. It's bent there. It looks like it's bent here. So that works. It all fits. in its own little way. The thing I have been avoiding is all the little greebles in here, because that's going to take forever. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll be done with this guy. Because, I mean, he'll be complete at this point once we get all the greebles in. So let's go ahead and bring back what's in here. But let's also look at the model that we've got going on here. So when we look at, let's highlight this. Okay, come on, camera. Figure it out. There we go. We look at the structure in here on the model. No, don't look at me. Look at the ship. It's okay. We look at the structure in here on the model, and I'm looking at all of this stuff back here for this greebly stuff. It looks like we've got kind of like a ladder structure. We got a circle structure, some things up top. So we're going to do that. That's the work we're going to be doing next. I hope, says Brent, telling me that no, I'm never done. I will never be done. Never. Okay. Do some of these, a little bit of this kind of structure right here. Bring it across. And we got little guys in here like this. Nope. Boy, that sucked. Let's get this. No. I wonder if I can just select him. Can I select you? No. Can I? Well, it's all right. We'll straighten it out. We'll just come in here really close and straighten it out. One of the things we're going to have to learn about with Clip Studio is whether I can select a structure in here and copy paste. Because, boy, that'd be useful. Control point copy paste would be useful. I don't know. Can I select? Maybe? Do you even know what you're doing here? Maybe? Let's see. Copy paste. Hey, yo, look at that. Oh, yeah. And here I've been wasting all this time. Paste. Oh. Z. I don't know what that was all about. What? So this guy is obviously some top structure unit. Here, we'll move him over. There we go. Paste. There we go. There. Look at that. And then we'll collapse that down and double check that we still have points in here. We do. Okay, good. Because that would really suck if we didn't. I'll move you back up to here. Move you back up to there so that it lines up. Right? Because there's the good news is there are so many little greebles and whatnots in here. And, you know, behind the scenes, when they built this model, this is all kinds of really great, like, hoodly wops and stuff. And it's just great. And so a ton of structures back there that we don't need to really worry about too much. We'll put this here like this. And then we're going to put this piece like this. And then we will erase that. And then we've got another little piece that goes like so into that circular structure, which we know is right here. And starts right there and kind of goes like that. Right? We're going to do the same thing with a little guy on the inside. Goes like that. I'm going to kill that, but I'm going to leave. No, I like to take those out too. That'll work. Okay. And that put those two in, and then we're going to go back in and put you. No, you. Rectangle tool, because we have little rectangles on either side that look like this, and like that. And then I'm just looking at all the little widgets back here on the back structure, this after structure back here. Now this thing looks like that, and that thing looks like that. Then we've got a line that goes right here. And then I could kill this line here, and I'll leave that line there, that's fine. And then it looks like we've got a rectangle that goes all the way to this back section. Like, actually, probably just even goes right off the bat, like so. And again, I'm just going to kill that and kill that because we need those. Kind of looks like the artist here got a little lazy on this back section. That's all right. And they were like, we've already done it 100 times. What's going on, man? All right. That's not aligned. That's aligned. That's aligned. And all right. We're going to take this guy and go like this. And go like this. This looks like, to me, on the model over here, I really should just copy and paste those two. This looks like, to me, on the model that we've got sort of a structure that where they were just like, I don't know, something else needs to go here. And so they just dot, 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 a lot of dot, dot, dots going on back here. So we're going to not worry about that. Why don't I do that? This. I take this guy over here, copy, paste, structure, and move it over here because it matches both sides and I'll have to kill that back part of the structure. We'll do that real quick. Whoop, done. All right. Now it looks like we're going to be putting in little things like this. And I'll just copy and paste that. Now, and deselect, paste, U, and paste, and U, and paste, and U, and they're not quite lined up, are they? Paste, and U, that up here, and then paste, and this is the last one. That. All right. So that puts all of these little guys in here, and I don't think they're all lined up. I don't think they're really. It's hard to tell because, unfortunately, this guy is not making it easy for me to see. But from the distance, that's going to look fine. Okay, so we've added all the little greebles back there. Let's go ahead and merge that down. All right. Check. There we go. Save. And we're just at the very end of this guy. He looks pretty good here. I'm feeling very comfortable about this, so it looks fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my marker buoys, which are telling me what to do here. And then we're going to select one side of this ship, like so. We'll copy, and we'll paste it. And we'll take this, and we'll transform, and we'll flip it vertical. Apply the transformation, and we will move. Trying to figure out which side's which, right? There we go. Move this in. Snap it in place. We've got some crosstalk back here, which we're going to have to work on. Actually makes me wonder whether that's not more accurate. I think that might be more accurate. Looking at that forward beacon and looking at this forward structure here, I think this is probably more accurate. That looks better. This structure looks a little bit better. So let's work there. Go in real quick, and we'll connect all these guys, right? Bring that in. What I want to know is how it went south. Okay, we'll do that, we'll do that. You know what, let's go ahead and just merge it. Because it's just not going to matter. We're just going to real quickly do this. And it should be relatively easy to connect all these pieces together. And we may have some work we're going to have to do on this bridge dome, though. Because the bridge dome is not, in fact, circular, which is going to be a problem. And I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to take the bridge dome and move it down 2 pixels, that 3 pixels, and we'll move this part of the bridge dome up 3 pixels, and that should fix that. And we don't have to mess with it. A little bit more of a problem up here on the forward part of the dish and the saucer section. I'm not worried as much about. This guy should be right here. The center line should be here. Brent's like, yeah, you see, I told you wouldn't be done. Maybe. And this guy's going to have to be fixed completely. I'm sorry. The good news is that this is, yeah, it's pretty much connect the dots at this point in time. We're just going to go ahead and do that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and just wipe out that line and then keep the center line. Right? And I actually was going ahead and remove this guy because he doesn't, well, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Actually, maybe it is. Let's just kill that, right? And then we'll put the forward line in and just redo that in a second here. We'll just go ahead and put that forward line back in. Starting right there. Oh, that's a great line, guy. Let's not do it at 6 points, though. There we go. Forward line going forward all the way through. And then I can line that guy up with it in the back. All would be fine. There we go. I keep finding the wrong line here. There we go. And you need to go over like that. The phaser bank looks fine now. And then this guy goes up here on the forward shield grid. And we will be connected. There. Now all we need to do is put our beacon back in on the front here. Now all we need to do is put our beacon back in correctly on the front here. And then there we go. That beacon's back in. We'll connect all these pieces real quick. You need to go here. You need to go here. I find it interesting that they've got these little subdivots going on. I wonder what that's. It's like it goes slightly down or slightly up at the end of each one of these pieces. And voila. We just need to fix like this guy right here needs to be brought over, and he's done. Now we need to go back here into the array and the crystal array back, and just delete one of these guys. That's all. You just need to delete it, and you need to delete it, right? I mean, just one. And the crystal array is straight, and the back is straight, and voila! Look at that. And now we have, yeah, it must be from the lift of the pen, the lilt that comes up. So there we go. We've got the tri-view is pretty solid. I'm going to clear the guides from up here too, and clear those guides. And now we've got a tri-view of this ship. It looks pretty lovely. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks just fine. It's interesting doing this. Fascinating study on the original version of the Miranda class, which I really do like this ship. It actually turns out to be Troy's favorite Star Trek ship as well. So I'm kind of glad to have been doing that part here. This Miranda class is just lovely. And so it's a good thing. And I lucked out to have my Faruda that was available to me on this particular thing. So we've given birth to a bouncing baby spaceship. Look at us doing our job. So, okay. This commission is out the door. So that's an awesome thing. And I'll be able to roll it out. I should probably do a 3/4 view or something like that as well. Might just take a picture of this guy and run a trace on him, and then that'll help give a little 3/4 view over here on the right, something with the reverse nacelle. So there we go. So this is a commission, like I said, for a buddy of mine who does this as a game. This is the USS Tempest. And it occurs to me that I don't think he gave me the Tempest's NCC numbers, so I can't put numbers on the ship. Although I will if he will give me the NCC numbers. If you're watching, Chad, send me the registry of the ship, and I'll put it on here, and I'll put it on the dish and the saucer, not the dish. So there you go. Stephen, you're my tomorrow job, so we'll be doing... he wants to do a character for his game that he's doing, and we've got a different style for that. I could put a legend over here on the right, which gives just the basic info on the ship, and I might just do that. I have a precedent with his particular... with this particular thing where I have been doing a 3/4 or a partial view, but it's easier to do when we were using my Starship construction set, which I have for the original series ships, which I built all the components of a Star Trek starship, so I can build any ship and then just render it, and it looks gorgeous. This I don't have any of that structure built for movie ships yet, and now that I'm moving on to Bellatrix Rising, I don't know if I will build that functionality. So that's a thing. So we've got to kind of figure out whether I'm going to do that, and that may happen at some point down the road, or I may just kludge it. We'll see what happens. So 7447 4774. You know what? He has a very specific set of things, so I'm not going to guess, because then it doesn't matter. we'd have a 1 in 9,999 chance of guessing correctly. I guess we could take 2 of them out or 4 of them, maybe a handful of them, so we'd still have 1 in 9,000 chance of incorrectly guessing what the number is on the hull. So I don't know. Maybe he did give me the instructions. Now that I think about it, let's see if I've got his instructions over here. He did give me instructions. Oh, 1919. We do have instructions. So we've got her NCC number. That works. So it's 1919. So I'll go ahead and just do that real quick. That won't take long. A couple of other things I want to do. I want to put the windows in. I mean, I'm seeing up here that the hull windows look good. I want to put the windows in. So should be good. I'm getting a lot of messages. Why are you messaging me, Brent? Oh, I see what you're asking. Are you thinking of purchasing that Mini? Because I love that Mini. That Mini's awesome. Are you talking about it for your... That's the question I've got for you. That Mini is beautiful and awesomeness. Are you thinking of using it for your for the Star Trek game? So like the same face? Because I could do that for you. I could draw that for you. I don't know how I can shape it for you. I mean, I could put that into Blender and see what happens, but I've never taken an STL into Blender and tried to dink with it. Anything could go wrong. I did discover something, and this is something we're going to try to do. You were thinking that one for Marcus. Okay, gotcha. I like the character look. The look is good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Blender. I did notice that there's a sculpture function in Blender. Kind of want to bring Blender in here and see. Can I sculpt? Would you like to watch me sculpt sometime? Maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll sculpt in Blender. That sounds like a fun thing to do, doesn't it? Buy the STL and print it. I think that's a great idea. You do that. And I'm horribly... If you're willing to risk it, I would take that and send it to me. Send the STL. Send it to me, and I will try to put him in a Starfleet uniform. It could go really wrong. So, I don't know if that's something you want to risk. It could go south. It could go south badly. It could go really... Well, it won't destroy your original STL, so there's really no harm, no foul. I mean, the worst thing that could possibly happen is that it would explode. So, okay, guys. A Wednesday or a Thursday? Well, let's do that. Let's make Wednesday of next week sculpting day, shall we? Take my pen, and we'll do sculpting next Wednesday. It's in. We're going to do sculpting in Blender. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to go to lunch. You guys should go to lunch, too. I think my kid wants to go to lunch. There's a lot of lunching going on here. I need to put the warp nacelle back on the Enterprise, or I will really regret this when I go looking for the warp nacelle someday. And it won't be there. And I'll be like, why is my warp nacelle gone? And I'm going to put the Reliant back in her spot. So she's in her little space. Now that we are done with that. And then I will see you all tomorrow. If you're with me, keep your eyes on the stars and have a good day. Lunch well. Lunch well, people. Lunch well.